Ah, Clive. Were you able to locate your quarry?
We were indeed, Lawsman. You pointed us in exactly the right direction. And Torgal's been a very happy hound ever since.
Very good, very good.
Lady Karen sends her thanks, by the way, for your part in solving the mystery.
Ah. But that reminds me. After your last visit, I found myself pondering Torgal's talents. Do you recall our conversation concerning Lady Jill's role in Torgal's transformation?
About how she somehow woke the power within him.
Precisely that. A reasonable conclusion, I thought. But one which raised certain questions in my mind. You see, the Fenrir of legend served Shiva and Shiva alone. And while the powers attributed to him are certainly impressive, the records imply they are somewhat different in nature to those you described Torgal as having used.
What are you suggesting?
That Torgal may be the beneficiary of more than one icon's power. Consider that in addition to Lady Jill, he has served as a loyal companion to you, your brother, and even the late Cid. In short, the icons hitherto near at hand, or should I say at paw, have been diverse and plenty, and that number has only grown as the realm's dominance have fallen to your sword. One can but speculate as to how all of this has affected Torgal.
He has seemed more fierce of late.
And if I am not mistaken, he will grow fiercer still. We are fortunate indeed to be able to count him amongst our allies and not our adversaries.
Oh, he's more than an ally. He's a friend.
My knowledge is yours. I have compiled some new entries, if you would like to see them. If you have a question for me, I should be happy to answer it. Did you learn everything you needed?
Nid told me she was building a ship.
Oh, I wasn't expecting you back so soon. Here's everything we've received and everything promised. Here you are. All done?
People take notice of wealthy men. Shouldn't be too hard to track down Karen's collector.
Gone.
Back again, are you? Any more trouble and you'll be barred for life, however deep your friend's pockets might be.
We don't know for sure. It could have just been a trap.
Welcome. If you're hoping for a bed, I'm afraid you'll have to look elsewhere. One of our wealthy...
My reputation will be ruined! Ruined!
Calm yourself, Lord Ignac, I beg of you, before you do yourself a mischief.
Pardon the intrusion, but
Out! Get out! I paid for these rooms so I wouldn't be disturbed. Leave me be!
Please, allow me to apologize. His lordship is going through a difficult time, and he's never been fond of guests arriving unannounced.
Radim! Get rid of the filthy oaf this instant!
Very good, Lord Ignac. Would you mind stepping outside for a moment?
I'm sorry if I've caused you any trouble.
That? No. That's just how his lordship is. Though the morning's events have left him somewhat fractious. He has been dispossessed of his luggage, you see. The thieves also made away with a considerable amount of coin. Coin the innkeeper will soon be keen to collect.
I don't suppose a certain blade was among the stolen items. A single-edged sword. It was purchased from a merchant friend of mine.
Ah, you know Lady Karen. Yes, I'm afraid it was.
Then I'll retrieve Lord Ignac's luggage. But I have one condition.
You have but to state it. You are welcome to anything that is within my power to grant.
I want an audience with Lord Ignac. A few minutes should be enough. Then I'll be on my way.
A condition I would be a fool to refuse. Of course, you shall have your audience.
I don't suppose you saw where the thieves went.
I did not, no. Though some discreet inquiries made on his lordship's behalf mean that I know where you might find them. The bandit's bed. Every ill-gotten coin in Dalimil is said to pass through that disreputable corner of the Valcroy.
And that's where I'm heading.
I shall speak to Lord Ignac in your absence, and arrange for an audience upon your triumphant return.
That will be very kind of you.
Farewell, and best of luck.
to fight.
We've got company! Come on, lads, let's tear the bastard's head off!
This must be Ignac's luggage. Nothing seems to be damaged. All right. Let's get it back to Dalimil.
I hear I have you to thank for the return of my effects. What shall I call you, my good man?
Wyvern. Glad to make your acquaintance.
A formidable name indeed. Well, Wyvern, I appear to be in your debt. Radim here tells me you wished for an audience. Is that all?
A few moments of your time should suffice, yes.
You're a peculiar fellow, Wyvern. All right, speak.
Master Wyvern was wondering if you could tell him about a certain single-edged sword you recently acquired.
Oh, a true work of art, that one. Karen drove me hard on the price, but I would have sold her Radim here to get my hands on that sword. It was made in the Outer Isles, far beyond the Twins. and is used exclusively by the practitioners of a unique school of swordsmanship. They believe no combat should ever exceed a single strike, and hone their blades to such perfection that none ever does. Each sword is made for that one perfect stroke, and for that stroke only. They crack upon a second blow. There's a brutal sort of beauty to it, really.
But how do they hone such an edge?
Fine question. Why, they use a whetstone, of course. Whetstones, rather. A whole array of them, ranging from the coarse to the fine. 10,000 licks with the sharpening stone, then 10,000 more. But it is the final stone which lends the blade its legendary sharpness. A mineral quite foreign to this great realm of ours. And that is the key. The secret ingredient. Wyvern, it occurs to me that my little lecture is hardly equal to services rendered. Take this, together with my regards. The very stone of which I spoke, far rarer among collectors than even the blade itself, and a far more fitting payment.
Thank you.
Pardon the intrusion, my lordship. However, it is long past time we prepared ourselves to depart.
So it is. I am locked in bitter competition with a rival collector of curiosities. I am one step ahead of the unscrupulous scoundrel, but he is hard at my heels.
Are there many other collectors out there?
Too many to count, but only one do I consider my nemesis. Lord Byron Rosfield, and is a perennial thorn in my side.
I can imagine.
Farewell, Wyvern. May our paths cross again. Radim, we mustn't dawdle.
I think his lordship is rather taken with you, Master Wyvern. Thank you again for your assistance. Coming, my lordship. I'll be right there.
Trust Uncle Byron to find such an interesting rival. Now, let's see what Blackthorn makes of this whetstone, shall we? Sorry for the wait, but hopefully you'll agree it was worth it.
You learned something about that sword, then?
I did better than that.
A whetstone?
Yes, but not one you'll find anywhere in Valisthea.
No wonder I couldn't get the same finish on the grinding wheel. One hit and all done, eh? Might not be so bad if all you ever fought were duels. Good luck on the battlefield. Your second opponent would be your last, no matter how good you were.
Even so, is there some way it could be used to give the Cursebreakers an edge?
I think so, yeah. With this whetstone and the right kind of steel, I could probably even make a twin of the blade that rattled me. But there'd be no replacing this little rock once I worn it down to a sliver. I reckon we get a dozen swords from it, if that. Swords that the Cursebreakers wouldn't know how to wield properly, and that would see them through a single fire piece. Nah, no point trying to copy that thing. Be about as much use as a wax anvil. But finishing our blades with a whetstone this fine, now that's something to consider. And what's finer than fallen masonry, eh? Or more hard-wearing, for that matter. Just imagine it. Good Valisthean steel with an edge as sharp as any found in the Outer Isles. I won't make a copy now. I'll make something much better.
I'm sure the Curse Breakers will be delighted. Just don't push yourself too hard.
Don't you worry about me, Sunshine. I've been working day and night since I was half your age, and I'll still be here when you're long gone. Hey, thanks, Clive. I mean it. I owe you one, August too. It's good to know someone's looking out for me.
He'll be happy to hear you said that.
And I'll see that my debt to you's paid. First new blade I make's got your name on it. You come and find me when you've got the materials.
All right? I will.
Clive? What's that for you, dear? No scratches, all right? That it? Fine.
There's talk that the glass gate flood.
Did you hear? The gates to Heavenhall in the Airy Road. Or something. The steward was in town earlier looking for men to come in.
I want to see you again.
It's all right.
What am I going to do without Sweetwater and Oil of Talc? Still no caravan.
Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you. To settle the Hideaway's debt with the Veil. And to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing.
nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that. Gob will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us. Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, wonderful. I hope you have better luck than I did.
Mid told me she was building a ship.
Lady Karen, Goad tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the Hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn deserves another. And our circumstances have changed. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you, then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
You have, yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died. 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. But having nothing better to do on the long nights, we set up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that. On account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. But I couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto,
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction. I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather go at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
My favorite pupil. Allow me to educate you. One must understand one's place in the world. I have the details here. The state of the realm is ever-changing, Clive.
All right, Clive. Asterix. Mid finished sending half the hideaway traipsing across the Twins, has she? I swear, that girl'd do anything to put off visiting her old dad's grave. No excuses now, though, eh?
Not quite. She said there was one final thing she had to take care of. I'm sure she'll be finished soon enough.
She said that? In those words?
She did, yes.
Clive? Were you born yesterday or something? There is no thing. She'll probably be halfway to Canva by now.
Mid. I might still be able to catch her.
Mid told me she was building a ship.
Is that the thing Tomes helped to build?
Obolus, have you seen Mid?
Yep. In a boat, going that way.
Then I'm too late.
You in a hurry and all, are you? I offered to take her across, but she wouldn't wait. Just paid for a dinghy and rowed off. Oars going like the clappers. Got some life in her, ain't she? But anyway, I was on my way up to see you, as it happens. Got a letter for you. Urgent, by the sound of it. One of your uncle's men said I was to hand it to you in person, post-bleeding haste. And you're here now.
Thank you, Obolus.
Don't mention it.
What tidings, Uncle? Trouble in Canva. Well, I'll need someone to keep an eye on Mid.
So what? Mid got us to do all the dirty work and then just sailed off into the sunset?
It, seems that way.
Well, nothing we can do about it now. But next time you plan on visiting Sid, you might want to tie her to something before you suggest it.
Ah, don't be so hard on her. Gotta admit, the dirty work was kind of fun. Everyone pitching in, all that bollocks. Just like when we built this place.
You're right.
Anyway, we all set to head to the old hideaway. I could do with getting to Canva pretty sharpish. Wouldn't do to keep Lord Rosfield of the Seven High Houses waiting now, would it? Not after he asked for me personally.
Gav will be leaving with me. Will you mind the place while we're gone?
You can count on me. Just be sure to give Sid and the others my regards. All right.
Oh, by the way, Jill will be joining us too. She's got some things to take care of, but she'll meet us there.
I hope she's telling the truth at least. Well, Sid, I remember what you told me. But if no one is listening to what you have to say, you may as well not say it. But I will say this, old friend. Hugo Kuka is gone. His shadow looms over us no longer.
It's a pity the Phoenix can't be in two places at once. If he'd have been with us, maybe he could have done something for the lost.
the Phoenix can bring people back from the dead. Life has a beginning and an end. So we must live while we have the chance. And not as slaves to the crystals, but as free men.
May we join you?
Lady Karen, what a pleasant surprise.
I thought I'd drop by and see how you were all doing before heading off to restock my supplies. It wasn't the most scenic view back then, but it were never as bad as this.
I know. The Blight marches on. And soon, there'll be no escaping sights like these. So our mission remains unchanged. We cannot stop until every Mother Crystal is gone, and their thirst for ether with them. The only one that remains in Storm is Drake's Tail in the Crystalline Dominion.
Our next target.
We're going to Twinside.
It's the capital of the Empire these days. I wouldn't like to think how tightly guarded they've got the place. Not that that'll stop you, but we do well to scout it out before you go charging in.
We would indeed.
If you're off to the Dominion, you can take this great lump with you.
Goods.
Oh, I am sorry. Have you forgotten you're the most wanted man in the Twins? I thought you might like to disguise yourselves as the attendants of a travelling trader, assuming you've no better ideas. You wanted to buy yourself some tools, didn't you? Well, now's your chance.
You're letting me go with them? Oh, thanks, Nan.
Stop that! You'll break me bones, you great galoot. There's a caravan that runs back and forth between the Dominion and the Bocklad markets. It's managed by the Merchants Guild. Just show them Goots' traders pass and you'll be on your way. It'll be a damn sight less risky than footing it the length of the Crystal Road. That's for sure.
Thank you, Karen. And glad to have you with us, Goots.
Okay then. I'll get me things and I'll meet yous there. See yous down in Bocklad.
Get off! Me poor fingers!
Jill, you're with me.
Understood.
And Gav?
Already on my way, Captain.
Be careful.
Aren't I always?
Do you see that, Sid? Your protege's making a proper little outlaw of himself.
How are you feeling?
Better. Thanks to Taya.
I'm glad to hear it.
And Torgal helped too. Didn't you, boy?
This used to be a trade route for merchants crossing the Scars, till the Republic laid a new road wide enough to let wagons pass, and all official traffic moved there.
Leaving this one for those living outside the law.
Indeed. I doubt we'll be the only outlaws on the trail today. Time to fight. Thanks, Gal.
Fire and flame! All yours, Torgal!
So what do you think? Really? It's as bad as that?
Oh, aye. There's trouble up ahead. And too much of it for us to handle.
I take it there's danger on the road.
Oh, what about this fearsome-looking fellow? You think he'd be equal to the task?
Well, no doubt. Assuming he's willing to hear us out. Well met, friend. My brother and I have been tasked with finding a merchant's missing cart. You seen it by any chance?
How does a merchant misplace his cart?
Oh, the man's a coward. When he thought goblins might come a-snarling, he ran, leaving his livelihood abandoned in the pass.
He sent the two of us to fetch it, but it's gone. Now, I'm not much of a thinker. but I know the work of thieves when I see it.
My brother's right on all accounts. And by my estimation, the bastards are lying in wait just down the road.
We may have seen our share of action, true, but we've not got the skill in arms to boldly brave an ambush.
You, however, have the look of a man who needn't fear a band of backwater ruffians. What do you say? Will you help us out? Chances are they'll come for you either way. But if you promise to lend us a hand, at least you'll pocket a reward for your troubles.
Well, if I'm going to have to deal with them anyway.
You've clearly got a fine head on those broad shoulders.
We're lucky you came along. Now, hoping to make a heavy purse in Boklad, our merchant friend loaded his cart with as much as it would carry. Reckon he won't be forking over the rest of our fee if we don't find those goods. So, while you're seeing to those bandits, you keep your eyes open.
All right. Just don't expect me to drag the cart out of there myself.
No. You can leave the cart to us. You just put an end to those bandits and point us in the right direction. You do that,